Hey, good morning, Eastern Oregon, on this August the 26th, Thursday. Man, August is about gone. Crazy.
Yeah, it went by fast too.
I know.
Went by fast, real
I,
fast.
when do your kids start school?
2 weeks from today.
Well, and I didn't know, is is school locally? I mean, I know they started out in Cove. My granddaughter is in the first grade out there. So
I don't have any kids that go to school here, so I don't know. Maybe somebody can tell us.
Yeah, I can. I don't know. I don't know when school starts here locally.
I have no. I mean, it's got to be soon.
Yeah, I don't know.
Got to be real soon.
I mean, when I was growing up, it was always September. I mean, it wasn't August. So it's just always strange for me.
It was always after Labor Day. Is that the right? Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. So
I think it was always like the Tuesday. Labor Day is a Monday, right?
Yeah.
And then we would go back on Tuesday.
Yeah. And I think, I mean, part of it is that, I mean, the way they determine when school starts is they've got to get, seems like it's 180 days of instruction in, and they figure out the days off and the summer and the vacations, the Thanksgiving and Christmas vacation and spring break, and then the teachers in service, and they kind of back it up. And it's like, okay, well, this is when we gotta start school. Yeah. So I mean, it's a math deal.
But I don't think they've gotten 180 days in the last 2 years.
Maybe, yeah, combined.
Maybe combined, yeah.
Yeah.
And that doesn't just include in class.
I know. My
kids were done every day by noon.
Right. See, that's
school.
Yeah. You're right. Even last year, it was a half schedule. I mean,
yeah.
Right. I mean, locally here in La Grande, it was. I think it was only half the normal instruction. So
on the west side, they didn't even go back to school till the middle of May. They were on computer school all the way till the middle of May.
Well, and then it quit in June, right? I mean, so what? Like they had a month of instruction, in-person instruction.
I hope it doesn't go back to that.
Well, I think, I mean, if we look at the trends, the one thing we can see is that, at least from the governor's standpoint, I mean, there's a lot of things that are changing. Hey, Julie, there's a lot of things that are changing, but at least she's trying to keep life going back to, I mean, school is still in session. Businesses, for the most part, are still open, and so on and so forth. So we'll see. Some people think that's going to change, but
I wonder what's going to happen with sports in Oregon. I'm really worried about that. EOU already canceled their tailgate for the first home game, and that was one of the big things that everybody was talking about throughout the summer. Is we're going back to the tailgate. We'll have the tailgate zone, and then they announced, I think yesterday or the day before, that tailgate zone is canceled for at least the first game, and then the outdoor mask mandate in public areas. I mean, that's going to mean that if you want to go to a football game, you have to wear a mask.
Well, and I don't think, I mean, that's inconvenient, but at least you can still function. You know what I mean?
Well, maybe. Yeah, maybe. I mean, who knows? This is how it started last time. And then I ended up, I was the only person in the stands at the EOU football game, the home game.
Yeah.
It was really weird, BC. Like, there was 2 cameramen way up high and then me. And then I'm looking over at all the parents who are standing on the fence.
Watching, like peeking in. Yeah.
Yeah, but they were all, it was the weirdest year of sports in history. It was so weird.
Yeah.
Oh, who didn't mute their phone? That was me. I'll blame that on Jimmy. He distracted me when I was supposed to be muting my phone.
Yeah, that's right. Oh.
I've known Jimmy, so the way I first met Jimmy, I'll tell you.
You're talking about Jimmy Burgess, yeah.
Jimmy Burgess, yeah.
Okay.
He his ex-wife, the mother of his two boys, Kelly and Wesley, she worked at Kentucky Fried. She was my boss when I was in high school at Kentucky Fried Chicken, and that's how I met Jimmy. And I knew the boys. Now they're grown, 30
Yeah.
years old or however, but I knew them when they were just little teeny munchkins.
I can't imagine being your boss when you were in high school. I mean,
I was a good worker, actually. I worked for Bob Bedard at KFC.
yeah, he's owned that forever, hasn't he?
He was a great boss. He worked really well with people, especially athletes. His daughter was an athlete too. Well, actually, a bunch of his kids were athletes.
Yeah.
And he took really good care of us, and worked with our schedule. And I worked with some really cool people and had really cool bosses. And I cooked. I worked in the back. I didn't want to be up front, and I busted my butt all the time. It was the worst job though, because you're 16 years old and you're working in just grease the whole day, so you're just constantly fighting acne. It was tough.
Yeah, doesn't he have a daughter named Kelly? I think because I think she played with Kelsey, my daughter, played basketball. Yeah.
If he does, she's way younger than, because he's got kids that are like 5-6 years older than me.
Well, they must be spread out, because I know he has a daughter that played basketball with Kelsey.
Yeah, because he's got a son, Aaron, and I don't know if Aaron's the oldest. Or if there's one above that, but he was a few years older than me, so that would mean that.
Yeah,
and you're old. There's a big gap between me and my sister Kelly. 14 years. 14-year difference between us. So I mean, my sister went to school with one of your daughters. Probably, actually, my sister's younger than your daughters.
Oh, yep. There you go.
I guess it makes sense. Yep. I think my brother probably went to school with your daughters.
Could be.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's crazy.
Well, hey, let's look at the weather. Let's look at the camera, the outdoor camera.
That looks nice.
Got a little bit of a breeze today. Yeah. Jimmy says he believes that Jared's the oldest.
He would know better than me, for sure. It's nice and clear, though. It's much clearer than it was on Tuesday.
Yeah. Yep, it is. And then here's the forecast.
It's going to warm up a little bit today. Get up to almost 80. Slight chance of precipitation, right? Yeah. Humidity's up a little. You can kind of feel it.
Yeah, I love these days. I just love.
Everybody's talking about it being like fall starting, but you know what? You know how Eastern Oregon is. It'll be summer next week.
Yeah. And then tomorrow, Friday, look at that. Well, it might be a little windy, but it's going to be beautiful.
That's my ideal temperature right there. 72 degrees and sunny. Same temperature it is in San Diego.
I totally agree. Yeah.
Can't beat that.
No, that's beautiful. Yeah.
Well, there's a little bit of haze on the mountain though, still from smoke.
Yeah, it just keeps blowing in a little bit.
It's not bad though. We haven't had that bad of a fire season.
Hey Tony, how are you? Don't tell the firefighters that. They would not. I don't think they would agree with you.
I think they would agree.
You think so?
Yeah, I don't think it's been that bad.
Yeah. You know what?
I think we've had a couple little rippers and the one kind of big fire, and they got that contained pretty fast, but I think there's been way worse years.
The fire that was out by Troy, was that called the Elbow Creek fire? I think it was. Yeah. I was so pleased with the way they started a Facebook page, and I'm sure this is they're doing with a lot of the fires. But anyhow, they had people clearly just designated to communicate with people about the fire and its progress and how it was being fought, and they shared images and pictures, and it was just did regular update videos. I was just really impressed with.
That's cool. If anybody's watching and you guys know, what was this fire season like compared to ones in the past? Because maybe it was just overshadowed by other stuff, by COVID and by other stuff that was going on in my life and here at EOAlive. But it doesn't seem like it was as bad as some, like the number of fires. There definitely wasn't as many fires this year as there's been in the past.
Well, I don't know. I know that what is unique this year is the drought. I mean, we're having a drought this year, and that is significant. It's a significant event. So
yeah, like somebody said, like Phillips is dry, or one of the reservoirs up there, Pilcher maybe. I don't remember.
There's a lot of them. I mean, I don't know, maybe a month ago, and somebody told me like Phillips had 10 feet of water in it or something, way down.
So it's probably dry.
Yeah. So, which I'm sure is that's a very strange sight. I haven't been up there, but I can only imagine. So I want to, I was thinking let's talk about, so next Tuesday, Brent Smith, the local attorney, is going to be here with us for a little bit and talk to us about the mandate. And I'm not sure exactly.
He's that tall guy that always comes in, like, gets his diet soda every day next door.
Yeah.
Okay, I do know who that is. He's Jeanette's husband.
Yep.
I know
Bauman. Yeah, he's with Bauman Smith. Anyhow, he's going to talk to us about, what it takes to have a mandate. Excuse me, an exception for the vaccine mandate. And I don't, I think it'll just be an interesting conversation, because there certainly are a lot of people who feel like they're cornered. I mean, I know of people who are going to quit their job if they're forced into having the vaccine. So
I think a lot of people will say the exception for a vaccine mandate is the Constitution of the United States.
Well, and I'm sure that probably doesn't work. But there are some, there is, in the fine print of all of these things, there is room for exceptions. So anyhow,
but only in the public sector, not in the private sector.
No,
I think in the private sector, right?
No, I think in the public. I mean, when I heard someone from EOU officially talk about what, because they've said for a long time that as soon as the vaccine is approved, that all of their employees have, like 60 days or something like that too.
That's public, BC. That's a public job.
Right.
I'm
but
talking
they also
private.
So, but I'm saying that a part of that, they also mentioned that there were exceptions.
Oh, okay. For in the public sector.
Yes. Yeah.
But in the private sector, there are no exceptions. If a company says you have to have a vaccine and you don't want it, then you can't say, well, I have this exception. Right. They can just fire you.
Right. But I don't, it'll be really interesting to talk to Brent about that. I just don't know how, I have no idea how you can deny someone a job because you're forcing them to make a health decision. I don't know. I think that's going to end up in court somewhere without a doubt. That makes no sense to me whatsoever. I mean, I'm sure
they already got stuff written up.
Yeah. Well, that won't keep it from going to court.
No, I mean, written up for court.
Yeah.
Like lawsuits already being written up.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
There's no
I'm
doubt.
sure they're already piling up. But, and this isn't a conversation. I'm not weighing in one way or the other about the vaccine or the value of it. I'm just talking about forcing someone to do something medically to keep their job. I mean, that just is that's contrary to a lot of different stuff goodness sakes, you could point to 10 different examples why that is out of the normal. That's bent.
Yeah,
so
it is out of the normal.
Yeah, but
there's all kinds of stuff out of the normal right now.
Oh, I know. And it was funny because when you said it, it's hard to know. I mean, there have been times when we have the fires and you have COVID, and it's like, and I mean, it's just like, okay, is this This is like Revelations. This is like hell. I mean, it's like the plague. It's, you know, I mean, it's like you wonder if this isn't, I don't know if you're familiar with, if you guys are familiar with the story of Moses in the Old Testament and all the plagues that happened, but it's like there are times that it's like this is just biblical. This is weird, you know.
It's
So we could have a huge fire season or a huge drought and no one would even notice because they're so inundated with the whole COVID mess. So
yeah, that's a good word for it, mess.
Yeah,
because that's what it really is. I mean, I don't. It's just it's torn families apart like that. Really, like really.
Well, but I think this whole vaccine mandate is going to. I mean, it's going to be devastating to corporations or public institutions, the hospital, where you have a pretty close family. I mean, they have a lot of employees, but man, that's going to be a mess. But hey,
here's my take on it.
Yeah,
and I'll stand by this. I think a lot of people are just barking. The people that are saying that they won't get the vaccine, they'll quit their job. When it comes down to it, I'll bet you they get the vaccine.
Well, and they might, but does that make it right?
No, I'm not saying that makes it right. I'm just saying that's
the reality. Well, and I think that part of that, you know, I think that the governor is counting on. Whoever is pushing the mandates, they're counting on the fact that, well, yeah, eventually people will cave.
I don't. Here's the other thing. Like, I don't think it's just the governor that's making these decisions. Everybody blames everything on her. She's not the only one. I mean, it's not her just sitting there saying, "You guys are going to do." I'm sure that there's other people involved in that process. There has to be.
Well, yeah. I mean, and I wouldn't want her job. I mean, anyone who is in a position who, I mean, let's take the school district, the school board, for instance. Okay. So you're in the position of having to deal with the safety of students. And then that means that there are times that you have to make unpopular decisions, you know. And that is that's a really, I mean, I wouldn't want to be in that position. What's Kelsey says?
I'll answer that one. Yeah, I'll answer that one. Okay, you can disagree, Kelsey, but I'm talking about majority. I'm sure that there's people that aren't going to bluff, but I'll bet you that I would be willing to bet that the majority of people that are saying, I won't do it, will do it if it comes down to it.
Yeah.
But there is going to be people that stay steadfast. There's no doubt about that. No doubt.
It's funny. I was talking to someone yesterday or the day before, and they said, well, yeah, now that the Pfizer vaccine has been approved, we'll probably go ahead and get it. And I was like, again, it's like, did anybody really have a question of whether it was going to be approved or not? I mean, the whole thing smells. I mean, the whole thing smells. The quickness of the approval. I mean, and I understand the motivation for rushing it through, but still, it's like, you know, I mean, so much pressure is building up to institutions saying, yeah, we're going to push this through. You know, this will be a requirement when it's fully approved. Well, now you have all of this pressure on the FDA to approve it. And it's just like, the whole thing is just weird. So anyhow.
Coley, it wasn't a disagreement in my eyes. There will be walkouts. You are 100% correct. But I would say that the majority of the people that are saying that they won't get vaccinated or they'll quit their job will realize that they have to have an income and they'll end up keeping their jobs. Not because they're just fibbing or BSers, more because they're put in a position where they have to provide for their family and they end up having to do something that they don't want to do because of financial burden.
So, yeah. So I guess here's the question is in those cases, what percentage do you think potentially will walk out.
Oh,
Do
gosh.
either
I
one of
don't
you
know.
ladies have an opinion on that? That'd be
What percentage are saying no? Like, what percentage are saying I will not get the vaccine?
I don't know.
We'd have to know that percentage first, right?
Yeah.
I can't
I
imagine that it's a huge amount.
I have some information, but I would be divulging it, and so that's not. But I do know that that it's. I mean, there's already a staff shortage. That's the thing. There's already a staff shortage across the board in so many places, and I mean, and it's not just medical. It's people are trying to get people to work. I was at Walmart the other day, and there were no cashiers. I mean, so the only thing were open were the self-serve corral, I call them, and I made a comment to one of the manager, and she said, we're looking for help. We can't get anybody we're short on staff, and that's the thing that we're hearing over and over and over again is people they're just not taking the jobs. So anyhow,
and I'm not and just so everybody knows this, I'm not like the kind of person that's like, you need to get vaccinated. That's not me. You need to do what you need to do for you.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. Period. And that's just how I'm a do you kind of dude. And I love people on both sides. I don't, I hate the fact that it's separating people. I've been pretty clear about that. I just think that people need to do what's best for them and their family. And that's all there is to it.
I want to pivot just a little bit. And that is, I was thinking,
talk some football.
I'm so exhausted. We can talk football. Yeah. I'm so exhausted. And I know others are too, with COVID and all of the stuff that's going on. And we had Amanda Mays was on Tuesday and talked about the flowers that they're giving and away and stuff. So anyhow, for those of you out there listening, I want some suggestions of local people that are doing good things. They're not tied to some agenda. They're not tied to something or some purpose. They're just trying to do goodwill things. And I mean, we would love to have them come on the show. So if you know of people like that they're being kind and welcoming, please let us know who that might be. So
yeah, absolutely. That would be awesome.
Yep.
Jimmy Burgess, talk football. I can't talk football right now. I have to get ramped up to talk football. I'm still a little bit slow right now. I'm not all the way 100%.
Well, so
you can't tell.
I know that LeGrand High School is kind of on a regular schedule. I mean, they're planning on a football game end of August, and people have asked me, are we covering that? And I have no idea. We haven't had anybody contact us about, but the last time they did contact us was about a week or two before it actually started. So, and when is EOU's first game? Do you know?
EOU's first game is this Saturday.
Wow.
Montana. They play at 5:00. You can watch it on EOUsports.com. They're picked to win the Frontier Conference. A lot of people around the conference are saying that EOU is gonna this conference, a 2-loss team could win this conference, is what they're saying. There's 3 teams that are really good. Montana Tech brings back a quarterback that didn't play. They didn't play last year. EOU, Carroll, and College of Idaho tied. They were all 3-1 last year. Carroll got the tiebreaker somehow, even though EOU beat them. C of I beat us. Carroll beat C of I. That's how it worked. Each team had 1 loss, and they all beat each other. And Carroll made the playoffs, but EOU is picked to win the conference this year.
All right.
5-year starter at quarterback, Kai Quinn. He's coming back for his COVID year. Everybody except for one guy is back on the starting defense. All-American Chase Van Wyk. We have a couple All-Americans coming back in, and it's exciting. The SID over at C of I, I read a little thing that he posted on Facebook today saying that the Yotes are going to win the conference at 8-2, like on a Boise State post. I didn't say anything because I didn't want to get them riled up, but the coaches picked EOU to win the conference.
All right. So let's talk about Metrim for a while. I don't know. Talk about how that's going. How's it going?
I'm kind of on a little standstill with it. I've been still sticking to it pretty close, but with Metrim, I'm going to do a commercial, like an interview commercial with Dr. Kopp next week. It's all set up, and they're going to put it out in the newspaper as a QR code that you can scan and watch. And it'll also go out on Facebook and a couple other places. It's a great program. I'm still 43 pounds down, and I feel better. I can't complain about it. There's no gimmicks. It's part of it's a lifestyle change too, though. I mean, in order to keep the weight off, I'm going to have to just stick with, and that's part of the program. At the end, they give you the tools that you need to stay, and they're always, once you're a member there, you're always a member. So you can always go back and get their food. You can always, do whatever you need to do with them. And they've been super helpful. They work around my schedule. They'll like call, on Wednesday, 1:00 is my usual schedule time, because you got to get a B12 shot every week and you got to get weighed. Well, sometimes I have something going on at 1, or, so they've been super helpful with that. And then they've also, the other really cool thing is, I told them that I'm a results driven type of person. Like I can't go in there and see 1 pound come off. So they've kind of customized my plan where I only weigh every 2 weeks, and I don't weigh at home. Because, early on I was like 8 pounds a week, 5 pounds, and I was like, yeah. And then 1 week it was like a pound, and I was like, oh no. So basically they customized it to, I'm like, nah, I ain't gonna eat. You know what I mean? Like, and it's really low calories, but it's doctor guided. So I mean, they do a full physical and EKG blood tests when you start out, just to make sure that only eating 800 calories a day isn't going to hurt you. And then they give you vitamins and a couple of supplements, amino acids, fatty acids, vitamin B12. And you go in there and you shop, and they put you on this plan, and it's working. I mean,
Good
there's
deal.
no doubt about that. Yeah, Metrum MD. It's right behind us on 4th Street in LeGrand. You can't miss it. It's the old lawyer office right there on the corner of what road is that?
That's 4th and Jefferson, right? Or 4th and Washington.
Yeah, not Jefferson, because Jefferson's the other way, right?
Washington.
I should know that. I grew up on Washington. But I never think about it extending past 4th Street.
Yeah. Well, hey, you haven't like whipped out the dad joke yet.
Oh yeah, that's because I didn't want to catch you off guard.
Or you wanted to catch me off guard.
Oh, I got one.
Oh, do you?
Why can't you trust an atom? Like Adam. Why can't you trust an atom?
Why?
Because they make up everything. It took you that long to get that one, BC? I'm gonna have to start giving you these ahead of time.
Oh yeah, I'm like, yeah.
Dana.
Hey, good morning, Dana. Yeah, you do. The dad jokes are like, yeah, all right.
That's actually a pretty good one, if you ask me.
That was. They make up everything.
Trust an atom. Yeah. There's a lot of them on the internet, by the way. And I'm sure.
Do you have to sort through and find the ones that like are, that you can do on publicly? I'm sure there's.
I kind of sort through and find the ones that you have to, that you got to think a little bit about.
Yeah. Even Dana says that's weak.
That's weak. Whatever. Whatever. It took BC about like a second and a half for it to click in.
See, Dana and I are kind of, when were you born? What year were you born? How old are you?
He was born in 1954.
Oh, he looks good.
No, I was kidding.
No, I don't
know
think he's
anything
that
about him.
old. I don't.
He's
I don't
not.
think. I don't think he's that old.
I don't think
I
so
think he's.
either. I
I
was
think
giving
him and
him
I are
crap.
close. And Jimmy Burgess,
Dana,
63.
you're 63
He's
years old?
no, he was born in 63.
Oh, okay. So he's 57.
Yeah,
58
he's
maybe
he's
if he's had his
younger.
birthday this
Yeah,
year.
and Jimmy and I are the same age. Jimmy Burgess and I. So
Jimmy still looks like he's like in his 40s.
he does.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, he looks. Yeah, he does. He looks good.
When I'm 70, I hope I look that good. Is that how old you are? What are you, BC? 58?
That hurt, man. I just turned 60.
I know. I was at your birthday party.
That's right. Yeah.
And I'm not a birthday party kind of dude.
That hurts, man. Well, and I'm not either.
Well, I associate birthday parties with booze, like in my head.
Yeah.
Because every birthday party that I ever had since the time I was like 15, I got drunk until I got sober.
I don't think there was even beer at my party. I mean, people could have brought it, but I
don't think so.
Yeah.
Unless old Marvel might have smuggled some in.
Yeah.
Him and Danny back there taking shots. They could have. You never know.
Oh man. Yeah.
That video popped up in my feed and I shared it a couple weeks ago. Man, if you guys haven't met John Marvel, he works for us. You need to meet him in your life. Like,
yeah,
it doesn't matter what's going on. That dude is happy.
Yeah, he is.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
I could be having a crummy day, walk in, and the first thing he says, I'll bet you Benny's going to take a 3-hour lunch today. or you know what I mean? Or anything like that. And it's just like, oh, yeah, I need him here. Yep.
Yeah.
He keeps my battery charged.
I do what I love. I love listening to you two talk sports. I mean,
dude, he knows so much about sports too.
Yeah.
So much. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I cannot believe how much he knows about sports. Now, granted, when he's doing his video stuff, he's watching. He's watching.
He's
Skip
catching
and
up.
Shannon, or he's watching. He used to watch the ball game show. He'll watch like LHS football games from 2016 2015 when Peasley was the quarterback. Like, it's crazy. Yeah, he knows so much about sports.
Yeah, how's Peasley doing this year? By the way, I mean,
everything's well right now. I mean, from everything that I know, he's QB1 right now. I've shared the stuff that they've put out about him.
Right, I saw it.
On Chucklehead Universe and on our page, and I'll have him on the show soon. Before maybe after like week 1.
Yeah.
But with him, even though I have his cell phone number, I mean, I could text him. The proper way to do it journalistically and broadcasting wise is to go through their sports information department, and I'll stay that path. Like, I won't just say, "Hey, come on the show." It's the proper thing to do is to go, unless you have permission, which I didn't even ask, because at a big school like that, you don't ask.
And for people, just tell who Peasley is. People who don't know.
Andrew Peasley, he was, I mean, one of the best athletes that's ever came out of LeGrand. I mean, especially in the last 20 years. He's technically, eligibility wise, I think he's a freshman.
Right. I think he's got a lot more time left. Yeah.
Yeah. He's the starting quarterback for Utah State. He made Sports Center top 10 last year on Thanksgiving. And it was cool. What I interviewed him like the couple days after that, and he hadn't even watched it yet. Now me, if I was on Sports Center top 10, I would have watched it that night. Because growing up as a sports person, Sports Center top 10 is like you know what I mean? Like, it's the holy grail.
Yeah.
And he made it on there. I think it was like number 3. Sports Center top 10. He had a run that was just,
I remember the run. I watched that game. It was, it was unbelievable.
And he just lit it up, and that basically earned him the starting job. And and he hasn't looked back since then. And he's got a great family. He's he's cool, and I might get to go to one of their games this year. Jake Hansen's offered me to go, and depending upon what's going on with work and everything, I would love to go to the Boise State game. Yeah, Utah State, Boise State.
Yeah, his dad his family owns the car wash on Island Avenue.
The oil change place too, right?
Yeah, yep. And I think his mom works for CHD, so they're local. And I think he has a younger brother.
He does. He has a brother that's in high school.
I was going to say that probably is going to be coming up through the ranks.
I don't remember his name. I'm bad with names.
So
yeah.
Anyhow, he's been kind of fun to watch. He was fun to watch in high school, and it's been cool.
I wasn't here at the time when he was in high school, but everybody told me that he was a better basketball player than football.
Oh,
a lot of times when you have a guy that's that level, like that is a D1 athlete, a lot of times they're really good at everything.
Yeah, I remember we have it on video somewhere where they were playing Pendleton. We were playing in Pendleton, and he hurdled a tackler. Yeah, I mean, it was like he jumped over. I mean, it was like, and they called it back because you can't do that in high school football because somebody will get injured. But
I didn't know that rule.
Yeah, I didn't either until it happened. But
weird.
Anyhow, so if you guys have any interesting non-crisis related people we can talk to, because we can line them up ourselves and we would love to interview people locally that are just doing fun, cool things. So
yeah, one of these days we'll bring my mom on if I can talk her into it. People probably like to hear from her.
That'd be awesome.
She's a little crazy. We might have to have a bleep button if she's on here.
We'll give her own bleep button. It's like, okay, yeah. If you're gonna curse, hit the button.
You're gonna have to put the filter on today, Mom. We had her on the ball game show. And
I remember. Yeah,
she kept her cool.
Yeah. Well, hey, give us your rundown.
All right. On this day in 1920, the 19th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution went into effect. This prohibited discrimination on the basis of sex in the voting booth. On this day in 1939, the first televised Major League Baseball games were shown. It was a doubleheader between the Cincinnati Reds and the Brooklyn Dodgers. On this day in 1945, the Japanese were given surrender instructions on the U.S. battleship Missouri at the end of World War II.
Something cool. I knew, and I don't know if he's still living or not, but when I was in Seattle, I knew the guy who was standing on the deck during that surrender.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah. On this day in 2016, San Francisco 49ers Colin Kaepernick knelt during the U.S. national anthem at San Diego's Qualcomm Stadium to object racial injustice and brutality in the U.S.
2016.
Yep. The song. Oh, gosh. Seriously. I'm going to have to find a different way to I'm going to have to find a different. I can't do the number one song in 1991 on this day anymore. Because this has been this song is probably on there for like a year. I mean, we might be showing that same picture. It was pretty.
We'll kind of have to look ahead. Maybe, you look ahead, and if it's going to be this way for the next,
I'm going to have to change the category.
Then you maybe you go to the number one movie, which would be probably that. What movie was that used in? I can't remember.
Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves.
Oh, was it? Yeah.
So. Kevin Costner. All right, and then the quote for the day, which I forgot on Tuesday because I'm still, like I said, not 100% brain-wise. Is from Steve Jobs. If today were the last day of your life, would you want to do what you're about to do? So if today was the last day of your life, would you want to do what you're about to do today? It's a good question to think about. Yeah. Steve Jobs was incredible, man. I mean,
he was, but I've listened to his biography, and he was he was a visionary. But he was he was an awful man.
No, I don't know about like. What
Oh
he
man,
did, like,
he was
personally.
not
I'm just
a.
talking
Yeah, I
about
mean,
like his.
he was awful to his employees. He was. I mean, awful man. That's a little too broad. He was a jerk at times.
A lot of famous people were jerks.
They were.
A lot of high, really successful people were jerks.
Yep.
I mean, it's just kind of.
Yeah.
I think I was one time I was reading about Ty Cobb. Ty Cobb was one of the best baseball players ever. Nobody liked him.
Yeah.
Not even his teammates.
Yeah.
I mean, but that don't take away from the fact that he could hit a baseball and throw a baseball. I mean,
yeah.
If you judge somebody based on baseball.
Yeah. But getting back to the essence of what he said, and that is, are you doing what you want to do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Good.
If you're not, make a change. That's what I say.
Good point.
People get stuck in ruts.
Well, yeah. And even if you're having to do a dead end job that you don't really want to do, that's only 8 hours a day out of your life or 10 hours a day out of your life. Figure out something else. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. What's the comment? I just seen a comment pop up. Oh, yep. Absolutely, Julie.
Yep. All righty. Well, thank you guys. And again, send us some names of people that we need to bring onto the show. We just would
appreciate everybody
love
for
to have some
tuning in.
options. Yep. Have a good day. See you Tuesday.